Well, 2.5 months have now passed since Plugged In first caught up with Patti Lawson while training with her Outrigger Canoe Team, the Hardy Bus Chickens. That was at the Burrard Civic Marina, which is one of the homes of the Falls Creek Racing Canoe Club. At that time, Patti, who has polycystic kidney disease, was end stage and awaiting a kidney transplant. But as we heard, that wasn't stopping her from doing anything, including competing in the annual Outrigger Canoe Race between the islands of Maui and Molokai, Hawaii. That's a 26-mile stretch of open ocean. A lot has happened since that first interview. Most notably is the kidney transplant that Patti received from her husband and living donor, JD, on October 28, 2019. Now they're both 2.5 months post-surgery, and we're here at their home to talk to them both, Patti and JD, about their kidney transplant journey. Thanks so much for inviting us into your home, you guys.
Thanks for coming.
How are things?
Great, everything's going well.
Both feeling really good.
Right, well, take us back to a few weeks before your transplant. Was there preparation that you both had to do in order to have surgery?
I went for a lot of testing beforehand. They had to do final blood work, antibody work, a few scans, chest x-rays, things that you do before any surgery. There was also house preparations. We have 2 kids, so lots of shopping, lots of cooking, putting it in the freezer, making sure we had childcare taken care of, kids getting to school, that sort of stuff.
And you have 2 young daughters?
Yes, I have 9-year-old twins, Avalon and Matilda.
Wow, so both of you undergoing surgery and you've got 2 children at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Patti, you had lots of tests leading up to surgery. What about you, JD, as a living donor?
Leading up to surgery, I really didn't have anything. It was all done previous. I just had to show up for the surgery, which
Just take a bus and go to St. Paul's.
No, my sister-in-law drove me to the hospital, and she
Right.
waited with me. So
Yeah.
it was nice.
And in fact, is the process that you were told that you were a match for Patti, and then it was up to you to let her know that it was a go for surgery?
Yeah, I even actually knew the date before Patti did,
Before
and I
Patti.
kind of surprised her to let her know what day it was.
Right. So October 28th.
Yes.
Yeah, so leading up to that, lots of tests. What happened when you guys got to the hospital?
So that morning, my sister was staying with us. She actually drove JD to the hospital. I got the kids ready to school, sent them over to the neighbor to take them to school, and then I took the bus down to the hospital. He was supposed to be in surgery by the time I got there, but they were delayed by a couple hours. So
Only because they had another kidney transplant emergency before us.
Oh, okay. So perhaps a deceased donor, a
Yes.
cadaveric transplant.
yeah, so we hung out together waiting, and then he went off to surgery, and I waited for about 3.5 hours with my sister, and then they told me things went well. He was out, they were cleaning the room, and I was going in.
Wow, tense times.
Yeah.
And how long were you in recovery then, JD?
Downstairs, I would say about a couple hours.
A couple hours. And how about you, Patti?
Honestly, it's a bit of a blur, but I think I was there about 4 hours. JD was there when I got there. I vaguely remember he whistled, and I looked open one eye and saw him, and then he left, and then I kind of slept. The girls came to visit me quickly. I was kind of in and out of consciousness, and about 11 o'clock that night went up to the room.
And it was great because I actually, for the first time after surgery, I stood up to meet her at the door when she got wheeled by.
How many hours after surgery would that have been?
That was 11 hours after surgery.
11 hours out, you were on your feet. So you get home, you're out of the hospital, 2 people post-surgery with young children. How did that work here at the house?
It was great, actually. Our kids were super helpful. The first morning that we were both home was Saturday morning, and the 2 girls made a menu for us and cooked us breakfast.
Yep.
So we had scrambled
Did you
eggs
know
and
they
toast.
had cooking skills like that?
They hadn't done a lot of cooking before this, but since they've actually done much more.
Stepped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stepped up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sisters had stayed here during the week to help look after them, and then to look after JD the first day, and then the girls took over, and we had lots of friends, big community of paddling, and other parents that stopped by with food and to take the girls out for play dates. And so JD laid on one couch and I laid on the other, covered in blankets, just watching Netflix.
Wow, it sounds like ideal situation. Maybe everyone should get a kidney transplant.
Yeah,
and give up a kidney.
lots of quality time spent together.
Well, yeah, that's what it's about.
And then we would go for walks about 20-30 minutes at a time, just just to keep the blood flowing, and then come back and hunker down in our bed or couches again.
Yeah.
And you were off work for how long?
I was off work for 8 weeks.
8 weeks. And I hear that your kind employer covered you for that time.
Yes, my employer covered me for a living donor program.
Living donor program, right.
Yes,
So
which
if
is
you're
awesome.
a liver donor or a kidney donor, bone marrow, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So I got the full 8 weeks off, and I was here helping Patti, and we did a lot of household chores and stuff that we wanted to get done.
Wow. And when will you go back to work, Patti?
Probably about mid-February. So they say 3 months off is kind of the minimum, and then based it on how everything's going. My function's really good. A couple of bumps in the road, nothing to be too worried about, but they want to make sure that my immunity is strong because I go back to a job where there's lots of risk for me in that sense.
Right. We'll remind people that you're a paramedic. When did you get back out on the water, Patti?
Beginning of December. So we had our 6-week follow-up with the surgeon, and he told us that he wouldn't normally let people get back out that quickly, but because we were previously athletes and medical professionals, that we knew the difference between good pain and bad pain. So it felt like bad pain, like a hernia, don't do it. If it's good pain, then go for it.
And how much pain were you in when you paddled?
Actually, almost none. I felt better than I did before the surgery because I felt pretty bad before and was paddling anyways. So going out, it was like, wow, I feel good. My breathing's great. My muscles feel strong. I'm not tired. So big difference.
Right. So that was the question. How is your health post-kidney transplant? And
Really?
you just kind of answered it.
Yeah.
The fatigue is gone and you feel sort of more robust, do you?
Yeah, so the big thing I noticed, especially athletically, is that before I always had sore muscles, whether I'd done a hard workout or not. Just I think the lactic acid wasn't clearing, my kidney wasn't doing what its job was. Now I feel super good. I don't have any fluid buildup anymore, so my breathing is much better. My brain is more clear. I'm not sort of foggy all the time, so you know, I'm not getting gout. I'm not all those other things that come along with kidney failure, right?
Wow.
So yeah, it's great.
Okay, that's great. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly to talk more with Patti and JD about their kidney journey.